name's Samuel Farmer. In today's portfolio task, we were set to find an extra library to use for our final project and make a sample project to demonstrate that library. At first, I wanted to use React Spring because I want to use something to bring some animation to my web page. Specifically, I want to try to make the banner or the Rick and Morty logo up top animated a little bit, whether it's going from small to big or whatever the case may be. So I was looking into React Spring. I did a little project on it and it worked well. But then I found Framer Motion, and that's at framer.com. You can get all your documentation here as far as the motion and everything you need to know on it. Um, let's go ahead and get started with this because I'm not the best at doing time constraints on tutorials, and this is not a lot, but for me, I'm kind of new to doing all this on the video. So let's go ahead and start our React app build. It's going to be create React. Oh, I'm sorry. Let's back up. Let's back up first. I done got our clone from our repo and cloned it to our desktop. That's our folder here. That's why we have our README that I filled out with our gitignore. So now that we have that, we can build our React app. So we're going to do create, npx create, React app, and we're going to name our folder Framer Motion Demo. That's going to take a minute, but as you see, it's going to be building everything, compiling the package JSON, the app.js, the app.test, all the little things you need here. Once this wraps up, we'll move on to the next step, which is installing our actual Framer Motion tool. Okay, great. Now that we have that done, let's move into our Framer Motion folder. Demo. Alright, now we're going to do npm install framer-motion. Okay, now I tried earlier fixing these vulnerabilities. I'm not sure what it is, but it doesn't have anything to affect our project here, so let's move forward and ignore that. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is make a new JavaScript file called animateddemo.js. Make that. We're going to bring in our imports, which is going to be React, and we're also going to use our useState method. Okay, there's that import. Then we're going to import from Framer Motion, we're going to import that motion component here. That's going to be from Framer Motion. Alright, so there is our hook for the useState, our motion component provided by Framer Motion. So let's go on to our animation demo component. Let's go ahead and create that function, which is going to be our const. Let's do const animation demo. Alright, and inside this we're going to do the properties for Framer Motion is moving or set is moving. And that's going to equal our hook, which is going to be the useState. Call it false. So we define the functional component. Inside the component, we initialize a state variable, which is the isMoving. Then we use the useState hook. The state variable tracks whether the animation is currently active, which is true, or not, which is false. So there's that. Let's see here. Now let's do our toggle animation to go from whether you want to do left or right, up or down, anything like that. So let's do const toggle animation equals do this function correctly here if I don't lose my place. And then that's going to be the set is moving. And then we're going to do prev is moving, calling back to the false. Prev is moving. Close that off. You can close that. So we define the toggle animation function, the is moving state. It switches between true and false when called back. Now let's do our return. And this is where we can do our JSX structure for our actual object. And you can do things like position. I know it uses things like the axes of X, Y, and Z as well. Let's see here. Close that off. Inside the div, this is where it's going to use that motion dot div. Then we're going to go down here. We're going to do style. Then we're just going to do whatever custom things we want. This is going to be the width and height of your object. This is going to be the background color. We'll make that blue. And then since this is the child element to the parent, we're going to make that absolute because it's already relative up at the top. And then this is going to be our positioning starting out, which is left. That's that is moving property again. It's going to make it go 100%, starting from 0%. See if that's correct. Okay. Dun, dun. All right, now down here is where we can animate that left position. And that's going to toggle it to the 100%. There's that. And then we need to do the transition. This is going to be the speed of that. So transition is going to be duration, and then you can do 1. I believe it goes all the way to 1 to 10, I believe. So we have that. Let's close this out. And then we're going to want to put a button to create all this on a click, which is going to be the equals. That's going to be that toggle animation again. And of course, we're going to just say toggle animation for the button. Now, let's see if we've got all this right. Let's end these two. Then we need to export this out. Animated demo. Animation demo. Let's see, make sure I got all that correct. We can just do that right there. Okay, so now that we have that component built, let's implement that into our app.js. We can do away with all of this. Don't need any of that. We'll do that. We can take away the logo. Now we do need to import our React from React. And we also need to import our animation demo from animation. So now once we have that, we can come into this div, we can do an H1 that says Framer Motion Animation Demo. Then we can come down here and we can simply bring in that animation demo, close it off, and that should work. Now that we have that all done, let's start it up and see what we got going. Let's do npm start. Cross our fingers here, make sure we don't have no typos. Yes, alright, cool. So now our object is on the left. Here is our toggle animation button. That's going to call that function. And as you see, it goes to the right. And you can take it back to the left. You can do right and then back to left. And as I said, the properties down here, you can make it slower. Let's see, let's do 10. Let's see how slow that goes. What about 5? Let's bring it back, see how much quicker. Let's do 20. Maybe that makes it go slower. Maybe it is more than 10. Yes, way, way slower. So as you see, you can change all these properties. You can change it to red, and so on and so forth. That completes our tutorial for the library that I will be using. Hopefully to be able to change the size of the logo at the top for Rick and Morty to go from small to big dynamically. Like as I said, the React Spring library was decent, but with Framer Motion you have a lot more to offer, and it lets you do a lot more cool things.